Hello guys, and welcome back to the Stacey West YouTube channel. I am Ben, and of course, after our demolition of Peterborough yesterday, the Imps are at home on Tuesday night again. We welcome Steve Bruce's Blackpool, and of course, we had to get somebody on for the preview, so welcome back Martyn from It's Not Orange. How are we doing, mate? You keeping well?
I'm good. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good win yesterday for you guys. Good win for us. So two teams that are playing pretty well at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you'd have asked us probably a couple of weeks ago, we would have given you a very different answer to that question. But yeah, I think we might have hopefully started to turn a corner now. So we'll start off looking back at the game away at Bloomfield Road, which obviously it was quite a tight game throughout, and I think I think we were having a chat around at the time, and I think I said it felt like we maybe got away with one with that at the end of the game. You know, obviously it was a tight game. I think maybe Blackpool edged it, and then Tom Hamer pops up at the end from a corner to seal a point for us. How was the reaction from your side to that? You know, did it feel like, because I think you were on a really good run at that point as well, weren't you? It seemed like it maybe just tailed off a little bit after that.
Yeah, well, when Bruce came in, we won the first four. We won home to Exeter and Burton at home as well, and also we won at Huddersfield and Charlton. So we were on a very good run. You know, the new manager bounced as well and truly kicked in. Played you guys, and to be honest, the performance against you guys was as good as any of those for 5 minutes. I thought we were pretty. You know, we created quite a few chances against you guys, but just didn't have the killer touch, which has been the problem all season, especially at home, because we haven't won a home game since September. So, and then the last 15 minutes we stopped playing, and I think you guys suddenly sensed that as well, that maybe the legs had gone a bit, and you definitely pressed, and it wasn't too surprising that you know, it was disappointing to concede from that corner, because we had some quite big lads at the back, and I thought we could just see that out, but we didn't. But I left that stadium feeling frustrated, but encouraged, because we were on a good run. It was 5 games unbeaten, 4 wins and a draw against you. Then we went to Mansfield the next game and didn't turn up. We were absolutely terrible. And then what happened with Steve Bruce. You know, obviously he had a death in the family, and we didn't see him for a month, and it was 6 weeks, whatever it was. It was hard. But yeah, the Lincoln game, I remember it. We played all right. I wasn't too deflated. I was just a bit frustrated with it all, really. But I liked your spirit, and I liked the attitude that, you know, we can nick something, and it would have felt like a really nice drive home for Lincoln fans, because everyone loves a last minute equaliser or a winner, don't they?
Absolutely. I think that was we've obviously gone on our own sticky run for very different reasons. I think a few of us couldn't really put our finger on what was quite going wrong, but obviously, you know, we got the win last week against Northampton, and then just a scintillating performance yesterday has really reignited a lot of the belief that I think a lot of the fans have had. So I mean, yeah, let's go back. I mean, obviously you mentioned Bruce had his a little bit of a his leave for the personal reasons, but when we spoke, he'd just come in. I think, as you say, 3 or 4 games before the Lincoln game back in was it October? Yeah, October. And then he said, I think the thing you said at the time was that he'd basically stripped everything back to basics and gone back to doing the simple things right. Has that stayed? And I know at the time you mentioned, you know, you've been attacking down the width quite a lot. Is that the same? And is that the same sort of philosophy that he's playing to at the moment now that he's back in and presumably, hopefully, you know, reintegrated well to everything?
Yeah, it was noticeable that when, you know, like I say, it was unfortunate that he had to depart for a few weeks and Steve Agnew took over. And from my understanding of it, Steve Bruce literally took himself out of it. You know, it wasn't like he was on the end of a phone picking the team or whatever. It was literally, you know, I need to deal with this, quite rightly, so I'll be with my family. So we lost our way for quite a while. We just mentioned before we came on, you know, we got beat 5-1 by Peterborough because we defensively were all over the place. And you feel that with some of the games that we lost when Bruce was absent, had he been there, I think we'd have picked up some points. But you know what? It is what it is. Life happens and things happen like that. But since he's come back, the philosophy is very much the same. 4-4-2, playing with a lot of width. We lost CJ Hamilton for 2 months. And although he's never necessarily set the world alight in the Blackpool shirt. Last season, he was playing as one of Critchley's kind of wing backs, which is not his position. He's an out-and-out winger with not a massive amount of football now. So he's just a runner. He's an athlete. He's a runner. You know, knock the ball in front of him and he'll run. And we got Rob Apter, who's product of our youth academy. He's done. I think we might have mentioned him last time. Was at Tranmere last season on loan. Done really well for us. And now we've signed Bloxham, Tom Bloxham from Shrewsbury, and he was electric yesterday. But yeah, the philosophy is very much it's the 2 central midfielders, 2 wide players, 2 up front. It's old school because I think the players were completely befuddled by the previous manager's sort of very complicated system, and you need to be really, really good to play in some of those positions that Critchley had us set up as, and it's not always suitable. Some teams can handle it. We just didn't have the personnel to do it. Of course, we recruited for Critchley. And what Bruce now is doing is he's recognising the deadwood that doesn't fit into what he wants. And mid-season, or past mid-season now, he's transitioning that team from what it was to what he wants to be. So he's got a tough job. You know, he had 4 or 5 weeks away from it. But he's trying to change a philosophy and a way of playing midway through a season. And I think that's why the fans have got an awful lot of time for him, because it's a difficult job taking in philosophy, ripping it up and starting again. It started well and it tailed off a little bit, but we know why. But I think there's just been some green shoots recently. It was looking like we've got an identity, and I think that's the important thing. And we are, traditionally we've got this sort of romantic idea that Blackpool play with wingers, and because we did in the 50s, and it's always stuck with us. But the fact is, that's how he wants to play, and it's the way I'd rather see football played at this level, I think, rather than messing about with it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think the other thing that kind of struck me from the last conversation that we had was one of your signings over the summer, Fletcher. You said he'd not had too much of an impact as of yet. It looks like that might have turned around a little bit now. Is that at least from afar? It looks like he's found his feet a little bit. I think you said he'd maybe been hampered before. Has that changed and has he improved since then?
It's odd because we had a conversation at the start of the season, me and Tom and a few others, and I said he won't get 10. If he gets 10, I'll give 50 quid to a local charity. So a few people jumped on that. So all right, we'll have some of that. He's now up to 4. So I'm starting to get slightly nervous for the 50. And you know what? I don't mind paying it if he gets. I hope he gets 15. I think everyone in football who follows the lower leagues knows that Ashley Fletcher is one of these people that's had a lot of moves. Came from United's academy. When you see him play, it looks like he's got all the attributes of a really good player. He's tall. He's quite quick for it. He's quicker than you think he is. He's well built. He's a big lad. Just doesn't always use those attributes. But again, I think Bruce has known him from being at other clubs, and I think he thinks he can still get the best out of him, and he has started. I think he scored because he scored against Wrexham, and he scored yesterday. He scored something like 3 in the last 6 or 7, which is a massive improvement from sort of like 1 in 15 or whatever. So there is still a player in there. But also, if you're having someone like Bloxham or Rob Apter sticking it on the penalty spot with half an open goal to aim at, he will score, won't he? Even he will score. So I think there is a player in there. And right now, because our other strikers just haven't, we've lost Kyle Joseph for a lot of money to Hull. Jordan Rhodes has not been the same player for a year now. And Jake Beasley's not really cutting it at this level, but he's been out injured for a long time. So we haven't had a plethora of kind of goal scorers at the club. So Fletcher is really, played week in, week out because there aren't a lot of options. But he's much improved. There's definitely a player in there at this level.
No, great stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's as you say, when you have those players, it's like you can see the best in them. Yeah. But you never quite see it all at the same time. And yeah, it was one of those conversations we had where I thought, I probably expected a little bit more from that. But by the sounds of it, he might be starting to get there, I think. So
historically, he's spent a lot of time in the Championship. going sort of 15, 20 games with that. I mean, his career record is something like 1 in 6. And like most football fans, you want more from a striker, don't you? To me, either 1 in 2, 1 in 3. Once you start getting to 1 in 4, they're not prolific. And Ashley Fletcher's never been prolific, but I definitely think this is his level. If he spent more time at League One, he probably have scored a lot more career goals. But once you're in the Championship, you're on that conveyor belt, aren't you? Of, leave Sheffield United, go to Middlesbrough, leave Middlesbrough, go to Derby or whatever. There's a lot of clubs in the Championship that recycle players, and you get your 15, 12 grand a week, and you're loving life, aren't you? But eventually your luck runs out, and then you drop down a level. And I think he found it hard at first. Perhaps he thinks he should be at a higher level, but I think this level suits him, and he's definitely improving. So, I hope it continues. I don't care who scores as long as someone does.
Absolutely, that's the best way to look at it, isn't it? So, you've mentioned there Carl Joseph going. Obviously a big loss for you guys. I think the other two outgoings that I've seen, we've got Norburn out on loan, and then the one that I think we spoke about before, Elliot Embleton, heading out. Now, that was one that maybe surprised me a little bit, because I know obviously he'd spent some time with you guys before and then came back from Sunderland on a permanent deal, and now he's left the club to go to Carlisle. Was there anything? What was the story behind that one? And was it just that he not quite found his feet again, or?
I think with Elliot Embleton, when we had him on loan at the start of January window, we got him 21. The season we, as you know, went up. He was a player then. He was more of a wide player, I always thought, and had some pace about him. And was quite a lean looking lad. I think he's had so many injuries, they've caught up with him. He has never ever hit the heights. I know he went on loan to Derby, didn't play many games for them. Was in got a few games at Sunderland, but when he came back to us, I was a bit shocked about how immobile he was. He just didn't look the same player, and he really struggled. And again, Crixley signed him, and I think if Bruce had been here at the start of the season, he wouldn't have signed him. And he very quickly realised that he wasn't the player. I think he had he set up Kyle Joseph at Bolton with the opener. We took the lead at Bolton, and that was probably his best moment. But after that, there was very little from him, and I think Bruce just made his mind up. And also, I think geographically, Embleton going to Carlisle, he's a northeast lad. It's only an hour away from home, but Carlisle have given him a big contract. I think it's 3.5 years they've given him, which when you're at the bottom of League Two is a bit of a statement. That I don't know how he's done there, to be honest. I've not really been watching, but it's just another disappointing signing that you hope for more from him. But he's not. He's been plagued by injuries, and I do feel sorry for him. He's just not the same player that we had 3 years ago. So it was right, and he won't have been on little money either. He'll have been on a decent contract here. So we've probably done well to get out of it 6 months in, rather than him hanging around for 18 months. And a club like ours and a club like yours can't afford to have fairly decent earners sat in the stand doing nothing.
No, fair enough. I think, there'll likely be a few comments aimed at one particular player at the moment when that comes in, because unfortunately, Tyler Walker looks like he's out for the season as well, which, he's not played many for us at all since he came back. So, I mean, obviously Carl Joseph going, massive blow, but the signings that you brought in, I've seen 2. I don't know if there's been any more since then. I think is it Samuel Silvera on loan
and Bloxham,
and then Tom Bloxham as well. So I mean, it looks like it might have been a quick reinvestment of the money from Carl Joseph going out, potentially to bring those guys in. Bloxham in particular. How have they looked so far? And have they? Is it? I don't want to say, is it like they've never, you've not lost anybody, because it never works like that, does it? But, how's it been with those 2 guys coming in?
Well, Bloxham, it's interesting because he played against us for Shrewsbury on New Year's Day and scored. But it turns out we were looking at him anyway. And he's absolutely poor old James Husband at left, because actually had a decent season, got ripped a new one, frankly, by Bloxham. Bloxham's a very quick, very powerful lad. You can sort of see why quite a few clubs were sniffing after him. We got him for reportedly about 350 grand, which I still think it's not an inconsiderable fee, that is it, in League One? Not many teams are paying 350 even. It's all mainly frees, isn't it? So it's a decent fee for him. I have a feeling that we might end up selling him on in 2 years for a bit more than that, because he already looks like an athlete. He looks like a player. Silvera's only had like a cameo appearance off the bench and did well at Middlesbrough a couple of years ago when he got in the team, but he didn't do so well at Portsmouth first half of this season. But again, he's played at a higher level and looks like a decent player. It's a shame about Joseph because we'd like to have kept him, but when someone's offering you £2.5 million, again for a lad whose goal scoring record this season has been 8 goals. I think it's 10 in 49 he scored for us in his very short time, only with us for 18 months. He doesn't have much of a career goal scoring record. He's a very willing runner. He's a powerful lad, but he's not a finisher. I think the money we've got for him is actually very, very good. But if somebody had said it's £1.5 million, it probably would have been giving him away a little bit, but it wouldn't have been horrendous. But £2.5 million is a lot of money for someone who I don't think is going to score goals in the Championship. I hope he does. I hope he scores 30, but I don't think he will. So we've reinvested a bit of it with Bloxham, and there's a very strong rumour that we're going to sign Niall Ennis from Stoke, who again has got no goal scoring record in the Championship, but at Plymouth he was decent for a season. I think he got 14 or 15. So, and with hopefully a little bit more to spend, and Bruce has said that if we can't find the right players, we'll wait until the summer. So I think that hopefully some of the money will get reinvested, but I don't expect us to go and spend £1 million on someone.
No.
A few 400, 500 grand signings in this level can make a big difference, can't they? So,
yeah, I mean, it's a well, we've said it since the start of the season. The money that's suddenly being thrown around in the division this season is crazy when it comes to the bigger clubs and the ones that are really, really pushing for it. They're just throwing money around like it's confetti. So yeah, smaller clubs and others are looking at it going, well, how can we compete? And I think it's the player trading, it's the football fortune stuff that you expect or you hope to get that's proving it. So let's look at your current run then. On the headlines basically are that you've had 3 wins since November, but of those you've only lost 1 in the league. So what's been the struggle to get 3 points? Is it that there's not been the consistency up front? I mean, obviously you had a good win at Exeter yesterday, but is there anything in particular that you've missing, and is it something that can be fixed maybe before next Monday, before the window shuts?
I think we don't have too many options in midfield. There's not an awful lot of creativity from central midfield, because if you look at the goals from yesterday, it was out wide. It was Bloxham scored 1 and made 1, and CJ Hamilton scored the first one again from a wide position. So you can see where the strengths are, you can see where the weaknesses are. We're a little bit like a lot of teams. It's that top end of the pitch that we're lacking in. Really, I'd like to see us sign another goal scorer. We had Jordan Rhodes at the start of last season, who did brilliant up until Christmas. Then he got a bad injury just afterwards and hasn't scored a league goal since. So I think the problem is probably finishing teams off. We've not won a home game, as I said, since September. We've had about 3 or 4 0-0 draws and 1-1 draws where we've dominated in spells, but just can't kill teams off. And it's the whole picture across football, isn't it? It doesn't matter who you are. You're only as good as what you do at the top end of the pitch. So we are a very solid, well organised League One team that probably, I think we'll finish higher than where we are now. I think we're going to have I hope we have a crack at the playoffs, because if we win our game in hand, it's only 5 points off Barnsley. I don't think this league is I'm sure you agree, this league is not great. Once again, I'm not even impressed by Birmingham and Wrexham. I don't know how you feel, but the 2 teams and Huddersfield as well. I don't think there's an outstanding football team there. I think they're all well organised. They've got good players. They've spent money that we can't spend, but the vast majority are much of a muchness. It's just finishing them off. You've got to have the quality at the top end. So that's our Achilles heel, is that we're hard to beat, but we need to be a little bit more ruthless. We need to score goals and we need to win home games. But we've got something like, I think we've got 4 or 5 more home games than away games now. We've had so many postponements, we've missed a few. So once we've got you out the way on Tuesday, regardless, we've then got the next 4 out of the next 5 are at home, and the away game's Burton.
Right. Okay.
It opens up then a little bit. So I think it's just scoring goals. It's just having that magic touch up front. We've lacked it all season.
Fair enough. It's been a similar story for us, to be honest. We had a sticky patch where we didn't look like we had. It started to look like the identity was slipping away a little bit, and then, like I said, last weekend against Northampton, and then yesterday, it's slowly coming back over the week, and then yesterday it seemed to just explode. So we were well happy with that one. So looking ahead to Tuesday, then are we going to be? Are we expecting a similar kind of game to the one down at your over at your place? I imagine both teams coming off the back of a good win. I think confidence will probably be high in the camp. I'd probably say maybe more so from your side, where you've been unbeaten for a while. You've only lost one in a couple of months, but it's the series of draws that's maybe just at the back of people's minds. Is it? Are we expecting a similar kind of game, or is it going to be a bit more gung ho?
No, it won't be gung ho. And it's not because Steve Bruce. I don't think Steve Bruce is a boring manager, but he's pragmatic and he doesn't want you to go. If you get yourself 2 or 3-0 up, he doesn't necessarily want to see you going, busting a gut to go and get a fourth. Similarly, if it's 0-0 with an hour to go, he's quite happy to really see what happens. He's not going to do it like, he's not going to do an Ian Holloway where he throws on 5 strikers and tries to, go mental and win a game, or a Postecoglou type. He is very pragmatic, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it will be tight. I think it will be a really closely fought game. I can't see an awful lot in it really. Although we have been known. Leyton Orient, just after Bruce came back, we got beat 3-0 by Leyton Orient. We missed chances, don't get me wrong, but at the back we were terrible. Since then we've been really, really good. And away from home, our form's incredible because Steve Bruce has only won 2 home games. The rest, I think we've won 6 under him. And we're in January, so it's not bad really. We do seem to be better suited away from home, but we've got to turn that home form around if we're going to do anything at all. But yeah, I'm kind of more. If this was at home against you guys, I'd be a bit like, oh God, here we go. But I feel more confident away simply because our record's better. It's mental. Normally away from home, we're like last season, we were pretty awful. It's the total opposite. Our home form was amazing last season, but you can't put the two together, can you? Otherwise, we'd be where Wrexham and Birmingham are.
Yeah, it's never easy, is it? But look, Martyn, we really do appreciate you coming on again to have a chat with us. If you want to, let folks know where they can find you, you've got 20 seconds or so to do so.
Okay, so with the It's Not Orange podcast, this is our 2nd season. We're Tom. We're all over X, thanks to Tom, and social media, and I think we're on Blue Sky as well for people who've decided that Elon Musk is a waste of time and you don't want to bother with his crappy social media like me. And we're on Spotify and anywhere, as they say, where you can get a podcast from. You're welcome to join in. It's a really good podcast. We love doing it.
I can attest to that. I think I came on for the preview before. I think I might be on this week as well. So yeah, no, look, absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. And before you disappear, can we get a prediction from you?
Oh God! Well, I feel like I did this last time, but I'm. Do you know what? I'm gonna say 1-1.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say that we can hopefully carry on our upward momentum over the past couple of weeks. I think I'm going to say we might sneak a 2-1 on Tuesday night. I don't think anyone was bold enough to predict 5-1 on Saturday, but there we go. But look, I say absolute pleasure. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us, lads. Up the Imps.
Lincoln City are the team, the race is their name. Since the bank is their home ground and football is their game. So come and cheer them on, you mad, support them all the way. Oh, 'tis our delight for the red and white, the Imps are here to stay. Oh,